Hello everyone, I'm Laurel and welcome to my channel. Today I thought I would make a really cute garland for Halloween, and I'm going to use these two molds with the little skeleton kitties. So what you're going to need for that is some UV resin, some black mica powder. You can do these in other colors too. You could do orange if you want, or just make it interesting for you. You'll need a mixing bowl, mixing utensil, and I have this button mold, and I'm just going to use this little button right here. It's just a little round button, and I'm going to use that for just a decoration at the end of the garland. So, and I'm going to do those in black also. So let's get started. This is going to take quite a bit because we have to do two kitties, which in turn will turn into probably about 6 to maybe 8 kitties for the garland. I'm going to put 5 drops in there, and then we'll mix it up and see how dark it is. Now, when you're curing it, because it's black, if it's having a hard time under your light, believe me, if it's a sunny day, take it outside. The sun will cure it all the way through. And that's only because the UV rays from the sun are a whole lot stronger than your little lamp. So it's always an option. Or you can just keep curing it until you feel that it's cured all the way through. I'm just going to use this, so excuse the noise. Just want to make sure most of the bubbles are out. And then I'm just going to pour it into the mold. I'm not going to worry about the skeleton part just yet. I'm either going to use a colored, like a nail color on there, or possibly I'm thinking just a white acrylic marker, because I love those. Just do another batch for the second kitty. I did buy some more UV resin, so I will have enough for as many as I'm going to be making. But to start out, I'm just going to show you the 2, and then I'll make all the rest off screen, and then I'll come back and then show you how to, or basically not how to, but how I'm going to do the skeleton. And you can use that as an idea, or you can do, like I said, do it your own way. You can also use some white mica powder if you want and color them in ahead of time, and just make sure you got the white all over the skeleton part. That's another option. Okay, so now we're going to cure this for, I'd say 5 minutes on both sides. Alright, so while that is curing, I thought I'd get the button done. And I'm going to need just a little bit more resin. Make sure that's on tight before I start trying to get some out. I'm just going to make 2 buttons. You could make more buttons and stick them between each cat and then have 2 on the end. Right now I'm thinking just on the ends, just an end decoration. Of course, once I get started with it, I just may change my mind. Because that always happens. I'll start something and I'll change my mind and then just do it a different way. Okay. Now you have to make 2 of these, so you have to do 1 in each time, obviously. Now I kind of went over where the buttonholes are, so you might have to drill those through. They might just, you know, cover up a little bit, so you might have to drill those through. And we're just going to cure these for 180 seconds on each side. Alright, the button's done curing, so I'm going to remove that from the mold. And I do have to drill through the holes, but that's fine. I'm just going to set that one aside. And then I'm going to make, I think I'm going to put some in between. So I'm going to make another one for the end, and then possibly, I think I'll make 7 more. And if I don't use all of them for this project, I'll just hold on to them and use them for something else. Alright, here they are. They're cured. Now, because it's black, it kind of did like this little bubbly effect on the back, but that's okay. Just take it out. And you can see how they look. They're so cute. Now you can always add in a little extra resin on there if you'd like it like a more smoother look. And then this one. And as you can see, the bubbly effect probably happened because it's like darker in the center for some reason. I think this one's like that too. A little bit. But once you put the white acrylic paint on there, it'll look great, so don't worry about that. Alright, so I still have more to make, so I have to do 3 of each one, so I have 4 total of each. And let me get started on that and we'll get right back to put it together. Actually, we got to do the skeletons first, and then we'll put them together. Alright, so here are the 8 cats I made, and I made 9 buttons. I might not need all 9, I probably only need 8. Now, these are the standing cats. I have 4, and then I have 4 sitting cats. And this one had a little bit of a mishap. I was taking it out of the mold a little too soon. It didn't fully cure, so it kind of messed up. I did cure it after this happened, but I still think I might be able to fill it in. So we'll see how that goes. If not, I have to make another little cat. So I tried the Artex acrylic markers. I've used those on previous projects and they've always worked good, but for some reason it's just not giving me the coverage I want. So I decided to mix up some white mica powder and UV resin, and I'm going to fill in the skeletons with that. Now, I also saw on Amazon, they had glow-in-the-dark acrylic paint. And I thought, wow, that might be, kind of interesting to put on these. Especially if you want to hang these outside. If you make a long enough garland, say for your porch or whatever, and you want to hang it outside, the sun will hit it, and then at nighttime it'll glow. So I thought that would be a good idea too. So, but right now I'm just going to do the mica powder with the UV resin and fill them in, and we'll just see how it goes. You know, I may do another coating of clear over the top. I'm not really sure. We'll just see how it turns out. So why don't we get started on that? All right, so we'll start with one. I got my mixing bowl, mixing utensil, some UV resin. I don't think I'll need a whole lot because these are very shallow areas that we're filling in. But I do have 8 of them, so I'll just do my best at calculating how much I need. Now, I'm not sure if that's white enough. So I'll put a little bit more in. Just remember, the more mica powder you put in there, the harder and longer it's going to take to cure. So see how this works. I don't know. I don't think that's dark enough, but shall see in a minute. Just going to get a baby wipe to clean off my utensil. I'm just like totally making a mess here. Okay. Let me close this up. And then make sure there's no bubbles. And then we can I just have a little dabber. I'm just going to dab some in. I don't know. I'm not really feeling like that is white enough. I'm not sure. I mean, it is pretty. I also have some glitter, white glitter I can put in there. We could try that. Just put some, ooh, that'll make it look really nice, I think. So we'll just do that. We'll just see. I mean, sometimes you have an idea and it works, and then sometimes it just doesn't. So I think I'm going to put a little bit more in the glitter. Oops, a little too much, but that's okay. It's not going to hurt anything. Just make it a whole lot sparklier. All right. I don't advise trying to pour this in because this is really shallow, so it might go over like, you know, the eyes or the nose. You don't want that. You just want to delicately drop it in. I think I like it with the glitter. And that glitter I got at Dollar Tree. And I think it was like 8 packages of different colored glitters for $1.25. And then those little glass jars I got from Dollar Tree. I think there's a 4-pack. And I used those just to pour the glitter into, and I thought that was just, you know, just very helpful instead of trying to use these little packages. Oh, I really like that. Okay, I need a smaller little dabber. I know I have one somewhere. Okay, here's one. I don't know if you can see it. Very teeny tiny. But I just want to use that so I can work the glitter around the eye. And I think it'll be good for the tail too. Oh my gosh, I think this looks so cute. When I used the, when I tested the acrylic marker, it was streaky and I really did not like the way it looked. So I thought this was, you know, a much better option. I also tried, gosh, that nail gel, decorating paint. It just smelled so horrible. I don't think I could have worked with it that long. And I mean, it would have shown up pure white on here, but it was just awful smelling. And unless you have really extremely good ventilation, you can use it. But I found that even with good ventilation, it smells so bad, and that smell lingers even when you're done. So that's not really worth it. I mean, the coverage would be great, but I don't know. I've used it on other projects, but yeah, I don't think it's worth the smell to work with. It's just awful. I mean, when you're curing resin, it gives off a slight odor, but believe me, it does not compare to that smell from that nail gel paint. So the smaller one seems to be working a lot better, especially for the small areas. And all you do is you dab it in and it will spread on its own. If it doesn't spread really well, you can just work it into the areas you need to. I don't think I'm going to coat these with clear resin afterwards. I think once they're done curing, I think they'd be just fine. Except for that one that I slightly damaged. I'll have to make that one over again. But it'll all work out. So as you can see, this is going to be a very time-consuming process. So I'll finish this one up, and then I'll show you what it looks like after it's, oops, get that in there. After it's cured. And then I'll do the rest of them off camera, and then I will show you how to put it together. Now I'm using black wire. You can use some black yarn if you'd like. That would work really good. Or I don't know if they have like a twine that's black. Maybe you could dye it. That might be a good option. Oops. I dabbed that in just a little bit too far. Now if you have any leftover of the white, you can use it for another project. I think with the glitter it made it look really pretty. Okay, there we go. Now I'm going to cure this for 180 seconds. And then when it's done, I'll come back and show you what it looks like. Alright, so it's done curing. And I think it looks really adorable. Now, I like the shininess on there, so I might do a top coat of clear resin just so it's really shiny. I don't know yet, but let's just finish the rest of the kitties off the camera, and then when I come back, I'll show you the next step. Alright, here they are. They're all finished. And as you can see, they look so cute. Now some of them do have imperfections on them, which I did notice. So I'm going to put a clear coat over the top of each. Now if you recall, on the back it had the imperfection from the black resin where it kind of like crinkled. So I just put a clear coat of UV resin on here also. So they'll both be the same shininess then, because I don't think this is as shiny. And I think it'll smooth it out really nice. So we'll get started with that. And I believe I'm going to use, not this one, but this, my mixing tool, to spread it. So I'm just going to do one at a time, and I'm just going to show you the first one because I don't want to take too long on this video, because I know with me doing this it'll take forever. So we'll just spread it, and then you spread it to the edges, and then be careful so when you're spreading it to the edges it doesn't go over the edge. You don't want that. And just take your time. If you see bubbles, you can just use your lighter and then get those bubbles out. Now when you go to the edge, just make sure you go right to the edge, because sometimes if you miss a little bit, it won't look too bad, but you'll notice it. It'll just like indent a little bit, where you can sort of see where the original edge was, and that this did not go all the way to it. And just take your time spreading it. Now I know I need more up here. A little bit there, a little bit there. You can also pour this into a mixing bowl and then spread it that way. Just put dabs of it on. That would work. But don't put too much on, because if you do, it will flow over the sides, and you don't want that. And usually the good thing about the UV resin is it stops at the edge, unless you accidentally push it over. That's the only time that it would go over the side. Just a little bit more. I do need some on the tail, so I'm going to be very careful doing that. And then some on the foot. And I'm just going to spread it carefully. Okay, so it looks like I've got all the areas. Checking the edges, because I know I didn't get right to the edge, so I'm just making sure I am. Okay, so now we're going to cure this for 180 seconds. Okay, it's done curing. And you can see how shiny it is. I think it looks really nice. So now I'm going to do the rest of the cats, and then I'm going to come back, and I believe we're going to start putting it together. Alright, they're all finished and cured, and I just laid them out just to see how I want them. Now I'm going to use this black wire that I got from, I believe, Walmart, and it's 20 gauge. And I'm going to space these a little more. I just laid them out like this. So I'm just going to measure across, and then I'll do the same with this one, and I think I'll add just a little bit extra because I've got to make loops, and we have to knot things, especially around the holes and around the buttons. So I'm just going to give it a little extra, and then clip that. Oops, let me clip this way, and put that aside. So to begin, I just want to make like a little loop. I'll just loop it around my finger. If you have something else you want to loop it around, you can. I'm just going to loop this around my finger. And then make sure this is nice and tight and snug. I don't want any sharp edges. So I'm just, now if you want to use yarn, it's probably a lot easier than with the wire, but the wire will last longer, especially if you're using it outside. Okay, like that. And then I have to find the other end, because then we got to start feeding these through. So I'm going to do the button. So I'm just going to feed that all the way through to where I want it. And I'm going to have it right towards this end here. And then I'm just going to find the hole across from it. And it's just like sewing, except you're using wire. And then just make sure it doesn't get all like tangled up. This is already getting kind of twisted. So don't let it twist. Just feed it through. Then if you want it closer, you can do that and then pull this end through. Okay, and it stays pretty well. And then just use your fingers to straighten out the wire if you get it like kind of a little kinked up a little bit. Okay, so we got one button. Oops. See, when you're using long pieces like this, it's a little difficult, but it'll work. And plus you need a whole lot more room, but I don't have it. So I'm working with what I got. So I'm going to take the first cat, which is one of the sitting cats, and put it through the hole and just go all the way through. And I think I'm going to start it about there. So then I'm just going to wrap the wire around. Like that. And then I'm going to use my pliers and I'm just going to twist it a couple times. I can even use my fingers. There. Just twist it a couple times. Maybe one more time. Because you want it secure. So, as you can see, there's like 2 little twists there. And then straighten out your wire. And then we'll put a button on. Find the end. And we'll try to space it about the same. So you can do the button, let's see, right about there, I think. Or should we just move it in a little farther? We can move it in a little farther, I guess. So right about there. And then we just got to find the end again. Ugh, working with wire sometimes. Ugh. It's like when you're making your jewelry and you got these long strands of wire. It's just so much fun. Okay. Okay, now this got twisted up in a little bit of a knot, so I'm just gonna turn it and pull it through. I don't know how that did that. Made this weird little knot. Okay. Alright, so we'll put the next little kitty on. Just gotta find the end. Whoops. And we'll feed him from behind. Go through the back hole. and then get it to where I want it. So right about there, and then I'll push this up, and then I'll do that twist. I'm going to have to move that to do the twist. Okay. Okay, so we got 2 done. And then straighten out your wire a little bit. And then find that end and add a button. Okay, I'm going to put the button right about there. Okay. I don't know if you can see that. And then we go on to the next cat. Now, take your time doing it. You are working with wire, even with the, I think it'd be easier with the yarn, because then all you have to do with the yarn is tie little knots where you want it to end. Okay, so I'm just going to move this around so I can make those little loops. Just take this, move it here, and then I'll just keep going with this, and then when I'm almost done, I'll come back. And you can, if you're using the wire, you can always straighten out the wire as you go, or wait until the end and then straighten it out to the way you want it. Okay, so I have them all strung up now. It's kind of hard to see, but now I'm at the end, so I just want to place this on the very last piece. Let's see where I started. Okay, there we go. And then I'm just going to feed this through. I measured out exactly the right amount of wire. I could not believe that. So then we have to do the loop. So we'll just do the loop. And then just lift this up. And just loop this around. I just want to make sure it's all secure. Trying to make sure that end is tucked in. Even though it's going to be behind the button, you don't want any piece that could scratch wherever you hang it. So if you want to hang it like on your curtains, you don't want that to scratch. Okay. All right, so next you'll see it hanging up in my window. Okay, so I straightened out the wire and I hung them over my curtains so you can see them. I have a light on, but it's a little dark in here with the curtains closed.